Because the crime is with the people who default on payment, like broadcasters.
We'll see. There's some who argue otherwise, but we'll get to that. We'll get to that. So before we went to the break,
DIMES is better.
Yes, before we went for the break, he's spoken about the joke. Susan, you're responding, and there's something saying then Bonasige was going to.
But I hope it was understood when I mean that government does not. You see, if you look at maize farmers, government supplies fertilizer, subsidies.
Yes.
They have cereal board that buys maize. You can understand when the government is regulating that sector.
Okay.
But in a situation where you are on your own, you produce your music on your own, Susan invests on it on her own, the government approach should be to support Susan.
Okay, I'll just stop you there first.
That should be
Susan
the
can
approach.
pick it up.
So what I wanted to say is, I liked, Dan, what you said is, let's not dwell on the issues or the problems or the past problems, but let's dwell on what the solutions are. And that's why I wanted to say, somebody like Ezekiel joined MCSK maybe last year. Maybe Morris joined camp later last year. So we're looking towards solutions and looking towards how do we actually increase collections, because the job of CMOs, is to increase collections, and the job of Kekobo is to make sure that there is an environment that is actually the enabling environment, and also to regulate that if there's anything going wrong, they're able to actually say, this is what's going wrong, and so on and so forth. So that's where we want to take this industry, okay? I don't want to look so far back. I want to look forward and say, what can we do to help CMOs actually collect more? What can we do to actually strengthen the regulator so that if there's something going wrong and they can see it, they can actually blow the whistle, and actually stop whatever is going wrong, because this is in private investors' money that is they're then being it's being removed from them.
Okay, Bonasige.
All right, I think I'll address two issues. One is the question of licensing. Licensing is where does the licensing begin? It begins from the person seeking the license. And once you put together your licensing document and you go to the licensing authority, if you don't meet those standards, you have time to make it, or you can ask for a waiver, or you stay out of business. That's how it is. And I think, so I'm addressing MCSK here. If you give me, if I need 15 documents and I get 10 and I tell you they are insufficient, that is the law. It is based on the law. So the point is, and it goes back to compliance. I want the law to be followed, because that is the only way I can be taken into account. Did I follow the law? If I didn't follow the law, the judicial process has a way of dealing with me. So I'm just responding to that. Secondly, on the business of music, and allow me to now go back to what the new administration, how the new administration looks at this thing. But I would like to begin by saying music or entertainment is a business like any other. We are a capitalist economy for most part. And the government input in most cases is a subsidy here or there. It's not going to give you the full capital. And that is what we are looking forward to continuing. It's going to keep, the business of entertainment will remain in private hands. Government is not going to give you that. But having said that, the new administration has plans. The Talanta Hela program, the committee that is formed, and there are a number of opportunities that have already been opened in the area of film, for instance, the agreements with South Africa and Spain and others, which Wanamutua and KFCB started long ago, and I think they have been realized several years later. So these committees, the Talanta Hela Council and the committees, is an opportunity for government to reset.
So the thing that the concern here, what I'm getting is that there's a feeling that the music industry is not given as much support as is due from government, and even when you do comparatively to other industries, do you feel it's a justified concern?
It is. It is a justified concern, and it's a concern that we wanted to address. You remember, I think, Mutua, you were in my board in 2009 when we released the Waipo Kekobo study of the economic contribution of the copyright sector, which we found that copyright sector in itself contributed 4.7% of the GDP at that time. And the idea behind having those studies, and I think it came in our meeting again with the American team and the UNESCO team, that data is very key. There are many people who do not understand the value of this sector. People only think, okay, these bars are selling alcohol, but sometimes they are actually selling entertainment and music. And that's why when I support CMOs when they knock at the doors of your employer and demand their dues.
Yeah, I mean,
it's a very uncomfortable discussion that we have
because according to the PwC most recent report, the entertainment industry in Kenya by the end of 2024 will be worth $4 billion. Dollars, not Kenya shillings. Okay? Now, the question is, if the industry is not earning that money, that means it's leaking. Okay? We're like a sieve. All right? And that's because as a government, as a nation, we're not understanding what Bonasige is saying. This is what we're selling. We may think we're selling one thing, but we're actually selling something else. But whoever is collecting it is not reinvesting in the music industry or in the entertainment industry.
So who is this we're talking about?
Well, those are the leaders we need to
plan. I think you're missing words because if we truly consider musicians as talented people, like athletes, like footballers, like everybody else, I think there is need for us to start looking at the entire business in a different way. One, that we should be able to identify and nurture talents and then create a conducive environment for music to thrive. And how can music thrive? Is where it is consumed in the public spaces, then it is paid for. If you use my music, pay for it. And I think there are many areas where there's a lot of money. This is a multi-billion-dollar industry, as Susan has said. And the question that we need to answer today is that while CMOs, for instance, are private businesses, they represent musicians. These are companies that are formed by musicians. It's like, liken it with Gor Mahia Football Club. Players get into a club, they sign, they want to grow in that and make, their talents are nurtured in the business and they're able to make money. You get agents, you are signed abroad and so on and so forth. And I think when it comes to operations like that, there's therefore the level at which the government cannot micromanage. And I'm not against regulation. I'm just saying we need to change the way we have been doing things so that we can support musicians. Ultimately, even if we have 100 shows and there's no money trickling down to the pockets of musicians, then we're doing a disservice, both as media, both as leaders in the CMO industry, and also as government. Let me give you some quick statistics.
Yeah, quick, because I have
where the money is. There's money. The money is, for example, in the registered businesses in this country that play music, whether on TV or radio or background music for listening. There are about 100,000 registered businesses in Kenya. If we were to have a properly structured tariff regime that, for example, charges just 10,000, for instance, for this, would make 1 billion from those businesses that play music, whether they are restaurants or bars or whatever. Just quick calculations. Even if you were to say, make it a half of that. And that's why I talked about tariffs as a problem, because it's set by the government, and there must be concern. Why are you lowering tariffs? You cannot say governance when we are playing around with the real heartbeat of the music industry. So take that, for example, it will rake in 1 billion Kenya shillings from the registered business. Take, for example, about 200,000 registered vehicles, public service vehicles, whether they are PSVs, taxis, buses, Ubers, and so on, who require licenses. And they play music at an average rate of 5,000 per vehicle. You raise 1 billion in royalties per year. This is money. Broadcasting stations, for instance, in 2018, I'm quoting figures of 2018, they announced profits of 18 billion, or they meant 18 billion shillings. Broadcasting sector in Kenya. If you are to just charge a percentage, and that's a problem with Kenya, because in Kenya, we have not been charging a percentage of the income that broadcast has made, and they use music. If you are to charge just 10%, this would translate to 1.8 billion. There would be no question of us underpaying. There would be no question of peanuts. So the problem is, why are we not getting it right? Is it that we don't value music as part of the system of business?
Okay, I just want to
What
jump
is
in
the
there.
issue? Where is the problem? Because I am speaking on behalf of members of MCSK who feel shortchanged, who feel that we talk too much, who feel that there is too much talk and nothing happening, and they tend to think we are blaming each other.
Okay.
And we say we come to your show, Dan, to find solutions. I'm giving real statistics. Why are the matatus, for example, not paid since 2018?
I just like to get there, and we'll get into the aspect of
Because
tariffs.
we have the
and
regulator,
regulation.
and
Yes.
I wanted the regulator to listen,
okay.
then answer,
I will
because he's the
respond.
one with the
I've heard.
solutions. Exactly.
Yes, he'll respond to it, Dr. I think it's only fair that we be a bit more systematic in the sense that you say you represent the artists, but we can't overlook the fact that there are artists who are very disgruntled. And when you the same ones who are registered under MCSK or be it camp or otherwise, they're disgruntled.
They're disgruntled with who?
With MCSK.
Who told you they're disgruntled?
Okay,
Give me one.
Dadiowen.
So how
For
is it
instance, let's first of all just run some sound bites. We have some sound bites from some artists, so we can get
But
context.
just
So it's
before
not
you do
theory.
that,
allow me to just first run the sound bites so that we can pick that up.
Honorable Ababu Namwamba, once you are done streamlining the CMOs, we also wish and request you to turn your attention to the following. The first grievance that we have is the anti-piracy. Kindly address the anti-piracy by fast-tracking of the mandatory continuous blocking of copyright infringing domains. Number 2, kindly unlock the 92 billion per year and ukieka kwa siku, that is roughly 252 million per day for the immediate website and into the legislation of the music industry. Number 3, directly create over 50,000 professional jobs to the youth, which shall support the families and communities. Okay, number 4, attract local and international investment to the creative industry as our creatives become economically empowered to create more quality content. Number 5, raise the Kenya 17.38 billion value-added tax, corporate tax and income tax from the creative industry every year. Number 6, keep our families and communities in Kenya safer. Number 7, international alignment to the tariffs of broadcaster to be gazetted by the Kenyan Copyright Board, KECOB. Number 8, tariffs by broadcasters in Kenya are currently at a flat rate, which defies the globe principle of royalties, linking the success of audiovisual works to the revenue that they deliver. Number 7, as KECOBO, it should be directed to gazette the licenses of the 11% monthly revenue and all the data be provided.
All right, we also have some samples of some tweets that have been put out. For instance, we have one by Bien, who is a member of Sauti Sol, and it was a screenshot of his payment from MCSK, which is on the screen. It's 14,634, and he says, "Let the weekend begin." Basically, he was just being very sarcastic about how much money he's made. They have made. Allow me before we get there, because I'm still building my point. And he's not the only one. And further to that, Sauti Sol have actually tweeted. They tweeted saying that they are going to withdraw their registration from MCSK. And these are not small artists. These are, and you can see the feedback on the tweet. They say all disgruntled members who wish to do the same, the time is now. Basically, they're calling on people to go through that.
I wouldn't belong to an organization.
You're asking whether they are disgruntled artists, and they are.
Let me tell you.
So do you feel they
in
are
2019, I think Calligraph Jones got 2,000, and there was a lot of ulabalu about it.
Yes.
This one's got 14 because we distributed. I told you to be able to distribute effectively, you must collect effectively. So the moment you don't want to get interested with conversation on collections,
Yes.
then I'm not interested even with that. You can pick up the sound bites that you want. We got to go to the basics. If I collect 10 million, I'll distribute among 16,000 members that I have. It will come to 600 and something. So this one was scientific and they got something. It was not 2,000 that Calligraph Jones got. It's not enough. I agree with Bien. He deserves much more. This is the biggest band in Africa. They deserve much more. But we are not collecting. So this is what you cover up because you also are culprit. You don't pay. I wish you came with your records done and say NTV as is compliant. We are paid. We are paid CMOs. We owe nothing. Then we can have a conversation. You don't go picking when you are a culprit yourself. When you are on. No. Let me finish. Let me finish this debate. Can I finish?
I have to add to that.
You know, we got to address the issue of collections. Yeah. If we are going to serve artists,
the media houses are the biggest culprit of not paying for what they are selling on their airways. And I have to add to that because we have had discussions and debates with all the media houses, including yourselves, since I was back in the day when I was a board member at Camp in 2009, and there was resistance, and continued resistance. So you think you're talking and trying to say, oh, the problem is MCSK and whatnot, but the problem is lack of compliance.
Okay, and so then we come to the regulator because when talking about compliance, he's talked about tariffs. The tariffs that you have saying that they're
going low.
They're going lower. So, exactly. So the feeling is that the ground set by the government as far as it can is a significant contributor to artists, to these messages that we're seeing here.
Okay.
Do you feel that that's a justified accusation?
It isn't. But and I'll explain. But I would like to start this discussion by admitting that there has been a problem. And unlike Dr. Mutua, I'm not going to pretend that all is good. We've all underperformed. We've let down our artists, and we should change. And secondly, on the question of tariffs, Bwana Mutua is new here. You found tariffs.
I served in Kakombo for 7 years. Yes. I'm not new in the industry.
No.
You found me there. So.
No, let me explain.
Let him explain.
Yes. Now, we changed the law to have the minister gazette the tariff. There is a process of reaching the tariff, which starts with the CMO, which is to negotiate. And I think I've received letters from your office forwarding, as the three CMOs, forwarding tariffs from yourselves. And those tariffs have been forwarded, and they will be published shortly. And it will have what Mutua is complaining about and what we are complaining about the percentage of the advertising.
Could you quantify the short
revenue? It's in the desk of the CS, so I'll not be able to talk there. But having said that, there is another factor that he has also brought up, which is what we considered, that if you want people to comply, you have to have tariffs that are affordable. And some of the tariffs that we had to negotiate for reduction were for matatu, for the saloons, because some people are going to close their business because of this tariff. It was not in the interest of the business environment to ask a saloonist to pay 10,000 shillings. No, there was no way. So secondly, the matatus the 14-seater was going for about 7,000 shillings. It was brought down to, I think, 5,800 or something. And it was a negotiated process between the CMOs and the Matatu Owners Association and MWA. So to claim that Kekobo is acting unilaterally One Mutua, when the tariff is out, compare with what you sent. Compare the tariff with what you sent. It is an allegation.
This one may have been invoked. So
No. That has always been the case. You had just come the other year. So there is a process. And the process is you engage. Because if you don't engage and somebody goes to court, it will be stopped. And that's what we want.
So you're happy with the tariffs?
I'm happy with the tariffs.
Music going down.
No,
with the new negotiated
there's a negotiated
ones.
one, which is on the
Negotiated.
CSS table.
Even
That's
that-
what he's talking about.
negotiated.
Even the other one was negotiated because there is a process of
But
getting to the tariff. Let me finish. On the issue of artists not knowing their rights and stuff, I think it's a shared responsibility, and it is a commitment that the ministry has taken that in its performance contract to say that it will go to every county. It will engage the sector. And I think we will be having more discussions and less accusations, because we want to have those views. And we want to have compliance as well. But we want to hear you. But most importantly, we are going to change the law again. And you are going to tell us what you want. In the law, it will go through public participation, and you want to support the artists. There will be provisions about to assist artists get their money through NTSA collection point, through CA collection point, through county collection point on licensing. So government is taking those steps, but we're asking, we want you to seal the leakage. We want commitments to that. We can forget the past, but we cannot forget the past and allow you to keep the panga, which will hurt someone. Absolutely. Yeah, we want those things to be placed aside. We want commitments going forward. These things will not happen, that will not happen. You can test us, you can validate.
And let me just to just move this to a different level. If
Actually,
you remember the $4.4 billion that we're saying this industry is worth, okay? So how much tax would be going to the government? You know, this whole thing about we're helping poor artists, broke artists, and whatever. The music industry is an ecosystem, as Dr. says, okay? When a musician shoots a video, okay, there's a cameraman, there's a director, there's a hairdresser, there's a stylist, there are dancers,
editors.
okay, they're stylists, they're editors. They're employing a whole ecosystem of people.
Absolutely.
Drone pilots, okay? So we need to stop looking at, oh, we're helping broke young artists, okay? I am, at my age now, at 62, I have brought up my children on the music industry. Other people have done the same, okay? We expect that this industry pays us so that we can live our lives. Okay, I don't have to take a part-time job necessarily unless I want to. Okay, so we must give the industry its due respect. 4 billion dollars. Okay, how much tax is that even in VAT? The 16%, and they're paying. The whole industry is paying that money.
Okay.
So and how much is that in direct investment? Okay, so we need to stop acting like it's a charity organization. The CMOs are a charity organization. No, we're servicing a working industry.
Okay, we need to take a short break, but we'll come back, and it will be interesting even for the sake of the artists. Huh? I might burn my bridges with the employer you've talked about. So allow me to take a short break, then we'll come back. Just keep the fire; it can stay alight. We'll take a short break on With All Due Respect. We'll be back.